My name is Emily Pethel, and I'm a Western Dressage rider and Western Dressage small R judge. I also really like to play saxophone music when in my free time. I love playing it for the horses, and I like to ride to music. Who doesn't, right? It adds some fun and artistic expression to what we do. Some of the most exciting competitions to watch are the musical freestyles, and at the Olympics every year, I know it's always a favorite of mine. So the freedom of expression and the feeling and emotion we can get from creating these awesome freestyles is something that everyone should get to experience. I hear a lot of confusion between some musical terms related to our freestyles, so I wanted to talk about that today. So I'm going to talk to you about tempo versus rhythm, and then phrasing and dynamics, and how we can make effective musical freestyles using those terms. So, tempo is effectively the beats per minute of our horse. I think it's obvious to us that we need different music at different beats for our walk to our trot to our canter or lope, because they're happening at very different speeds and the music should match. And that makes sense. So tempo is the cadence or the beat per minute of those individual paces. So tempo would be something like this for the trot or jog. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and consistent tempo is if that tempo stays the same. An inconsistent tempo would be one that starts rushing or one that starts dragging. So an inconsistent tempo might sound like so the footfall doesn't remain the same. Rhythm is slightly different. Rhythm is the pattern of the footfalls within an entire stride. So the easiest to talk about would be your lope or your canter. We know that lope or canter should be a 3-beat pure gait. So when we talk about the rhythm of that gait, it should be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then variations within that footfall would be irregular rhythm, which can sometimes be misfiring, or maybe the horse stumbles and has an odd step. So that would be a change in rhythm. That might sound like this. And then a loss of rhythm could be or so that's the difference between rhythm. When we talk about dynamics, probably the most exciting part of the music, it's what really gives the feel in addition to the phrasing. So not only can you have music that fits the speed of your horse, but you can also add that artistic expression when we change the volume of the music at key points in your performance, which can increase your marks. So dynamics is essentially how loudly or softly we play a piece, and we talk about them in the form of crescendos and decrescendos. So as the music gets louder and builds, and then gets softer and more quiet and contemplative. The musicians, when we're reading a piece of sheet music, the composer generally will mark for us where we should play more softly or more loudly, and those terms are defined. There's a variety of terms like piano for very soft, mezzo piano for kind of soft, mezzo forte for medium loud, and forte for very loud. You get it. So those different things can be applied to our riding. The most common that you see is on the lengthening across the diagonal. We want that to build, and we want to build that energy there with what we're doing with our horse. So we also want the piece to kind of reflect that, and that can be an added point in your music. So I have an Outlanders theme song here. I just randomly pulled some of my books out, and I think this one has a really nice crescendo. So I'll play just that bit for you now. So it builds and gets louder and we're feeling more energetic. And then the opposite could be true if you're going down into your walk music. A natural decrescendo in the music could pair very nicely with changing the pace of how your performance is progressing. Phrasing is a term used in music for how we speak through the music. So when we're speaking to each other, we don't just say all the words robotically. We have pauses and natural breaks. We can say a sentence as a thought. A paragraph might be an entire thought, but music is written in much the same way. So in some of your common movie themes, there's very remarkable and memorable phrases that everyone knows, like the Star Wars theme. Everyone can hum that. And using those phrases at key points to highlight to highlight portions of your music that match something going on with your horse, like a phrase in the middle of a pivot one direction, and then repeating that phrase in a pivot on the other side, can be a nice way to incorporate your music and get additional artistic points as well. I hope that makes sense, and I'm so excited to share some of my saxophoning with you. Let me know if you liked the video and would like more in the comments below. Thank you.